And we are going to kick it off with what I am going to declare myself as the most entertaining series, probably in either conference, in my opinion, for round one. These guys might disagree, but for me, this is what I think is going to be the best one. And that is the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. This is going to be a doozy. Nick, you want to kick off the preview with our season series stats?
Absolutely. So Colorado won the season series 2-1. Every single one of these games went over 6.5. I think that is absolutely crazy. But Harry, I have to agree with you. On paper, I don't know if this is the one I'm necessarily looking forward to the most. This is the most loaded. I mean, this is yet again another just crazy first round matchup to come out of the West that Dallas has to go through. Last year, they had that crazy series against Vegas. This year, they run into a complete buzzsaw in the Colorado Avalanche. So this is going to be a doozy.
For sure. There's a lot of drama going into this one. We've got a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot. There's a couple guys on Dallas who probably have some personal motives in this one. Obviously, we all know about Rantanen. I don't think Colorado wanted this to happen in their wildest dreams when they dealt him to Carolina, but here we are. So he's going against his old squad. Duchesne, a lot of people are overlooking that one. That wasn't exactly an easy breakup when he departed, so he's got a little.
Nichushkin.
Nichushkin going back to Dallas, yup. And then what will probably be the biggest storyline is Gabriel Landeskog. After 3 years of not playing when he got his groin sliced in that playoff run, he hasn't played a game since the Avalanche hoisted the Stanley Cup in 2022. He is coming back to the Colorado lineup, which is going to be nuts.
That has to be one of the best injury comebacks in pro sports, right? Because as we've stated, I think on a couple episodes on the run up to this, no hockey player has had this injury or these procedures and returned to NHL action afterwards. So he is going to be the first to do this, which I think is just insane, especially when you consider the fact that the guy is not young.
Yeah, definitely happy for him. I think well, let's see how it goes before we call it the greatest story ever. I'm rooting for the guy, but you just never know. We've seen it with Backstrom and other guys in the league try to come back, just can't do it. So it'll be interesting to see how effective he is and how if he's gonna jump right back into where he was or it's hard for me to imagine that he's not gonna at least have a little bit of an adjustment period here playing, your first game in over 2 years and let alone it's a playoff game too.
Against the Dallas Stars, who
Yeah.
we got to mention are a pretty darn good team themselves. So there's a lot going on in this series. In terms of Dallas, I mentioned Rantanen already, but Dallas is the odds-on cup favorite according to DraftKings to win the cup this year. They have the best odds out of any team in the postseason right now. They have been Nick's preseason cup pick and a lot of other people's cup picks for the last like 3 or 4 seasons. I would say they have probably maybe the most pressure in terms of their roster to get it done. So this is going to be a great test in the first round.
Absolutely. I mean, this team is loaded. I mean, prior to the show, you and I were talking about, you mentioned that third line, Jamie Ben Wyatt Johnston and Mikko Rantanen. Are you kidding me? That is like a franchise mode, like 20 years into the future third line or something ridiculous like that. So this team's loaded. Obviously, they come in banged up. Let's get this out of the way right now. Miro Heiskanen not being available potentially for this series, I think this is the storyline to me. I know Rantanen's going back against the Avs, but you take Miro Heiskanen out of this Dallas Stars lineup, it's a completely different team. You put Miro Heiskanen back into this Dallas Stars lineup, it's a completely different team. So that is the most valuable player they have. I don't know who else you can turn to lug. He was lugging 25 minutes on average in the regular season. I would expect that goes up to like 29 or 30 in the post. So yeah, I just think that's such a huge loss for them. I honestly I don't know what that's going to do to that roster.
Yep. Tyler Sagan coming back. That's a big win for Dallas. So it looks like he'll be back for their last game of the regular season, from what I'm reading right now, and then he should be back for game one. So, you know, when you look at offenses, it's pretty close, but I think given the star power here, I think people would probably say Colorado. The defense. Depends who you ask. I think Heiskanen being out probably, in my opinion, gives a slight edge to Colorado just because they have Makar, but Dallas is pretty deep. The goaltending, and I would love to hear Mac's opinion on this. This is where the series is probably going to be determined. I know you could probably say that about every series, but this is a big test for Jake Ottinger, a guy who was the third string goalie on that Four Nations team. He's probably going to be on the Olympic team. He's beyond that like rookie getting the experience phase, and now he's entering what I would say is the early part of his prime.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the comparisons. I think for me, if they had Miro, I'd give the edge to Dallas in terms of blue line. But yeah, between the pipes, I think no doubt, both starting goalies at their prime. No doubt Dallas has the edge there. We don't know what we're going to get. At least I don't think we know what we're going to get for Colorado in terms of wood squared, Blackwood and Wedgwood. They've been solid ever since they kind of shook up their goaltending situation over there in Colorado. But, you just never know if that's sustainable through the playoffs. So that's kind of the main thing I've got my eye on. I just think that. I'm not really worried about Ottinger. I do think that this is just going to come down to the Heiskanen thing. I have a hard time seeing Dallas as the Cup favorite without him in the lineup.
And arguably without him at like anything above 80%.
Yeah, yeah.
And I believe I read on Twitter before we started the episode, I think it was Chris Johnston who tweeted it, but like some people were saying maybe Heiskanen could come back in the middle of the series, he'd miss game one, and Johnston basically said it's a kind of a pipe dream at this point to think that he's going to play in round one from what he's hearing. So we'll see what happens. I do want to ask a couple fun questions here. Like I said, the predictions will be at the end, but got DraftKings up here. If you had to pick a player other than Nathan McKinnon to score the most goals in this series, who would you choose?
From either team?
Either team, but just don't choose McKinnon because he's by far and away the favorite to score the most goals.
I'm gonna go hints.
I like that. He has the fifth, no, I'm sorry, sixth longest odds. He's at plus 1,000.
Ooh, I don't even want to know what my guy is going to be at. I've got a little bit of a hot take. I'm going to go Wyatt Johnston.
Wyatt Johnson actually is the third
Oh,
longest
okay.
odds,
All
so
right.
plus 750.
Where
Okay.
is Drouin on that list? I feel
Ooh.
like he would be a little bit higher than people would expect given the back half of the year he's had.
Let me see if I can. I'm scrolling a little bit, so let's
Okay,
put
so
it.
yeah, so I'm wrong.
I don't even think I see him on here. Yeah, I don't even think I see him on here,
Damn.
unless I'm blind, which is totally possible. But I digress. Long odds. Um, so yeah, that's that's the preview for these guys. I would say this is probably like two A-list cup contenders going at it in round one. Sucks if you're a Stars fan, like Nick said, back-to-back years, and you've got probably the most loaded team going up against you. So,
Yeah, I
um,
think Mac makes some good points about goaltending. Ottinger can steal you games at times. I don't know if I necessarily would look at the woodshed like that and go, I count on you guys to do that. But then again, it's the playoffs. Then again, sometimes goalies step up and just take control. And
Yep.
sometimes they just need the spotlight to, get it going and let them know that, hey, I can do this in the postseason and we can compete and beat anyone night in and night out. I also think Dallas, you guys mentioned it too. They're definitely a little bit deeper. Definitely a little bit deeper down the middle. I know Colorado did some good stuff at the deadline. They brought in Coyle, they bring in Nelson. I think those guys are extremely valuable to have in the postseason. So this is going to be a wild one. This is so hard to call for me.